Julia Grace joining us. Julia, kia ora.
Kia ora, Morena. Lovely to see you, hear you,
Yeah,
chat with you.
nice to have you on the show. Are you getting into the Olympics? Is that a big part of your life at the moment?
Well, one could argue. Look, I have huge amount of respect for our amazing athletes,
Yeah.
who have definitely put their body on the line and their heart and soul on the line. So I have been watching the highlights, via social media, and I do get very excited when everybody wins
Yeah.
things. However, my local gym is also running an Olympics,
Oh,
and I have to admit that I'm actually probably more excited about that.
so you're a
If that doesn't
participant?
sound
You're a
I am a
participant in your local
participant.
gym's Olympics. Wow, Olympic hero. Julia
I
Grace,
am
ladies and gentlemen.
also a medalist, so
Ah,
high levels of self-involvement there. I'm sorry.
no,
But
that is very cool. Hey, it seems like to borrow a line from a Julia Grace song. It has been a cold and miserable winter. I'm paraphrasing here, and it seems like it's a particularly tough one, particularly for people that are perhaps struggling with their mental well-being. That you can only sort of pull yourself up so long, and sometimes we get to the space, and all of us have probably been there, or we know somebody who's there at the moment, where actually it just gets exhausting holding on to hope, and you
yeah,
think, look, I just need a little bit of a break on this because this is wearing me out. Hope is something which should fill our tanks, but actually sometimes it can be absolutely exhausting. Is that just me, or is that your experience as well, Julia?
it's by no means just you. I think you've hit the nail on the head. Long periods of time when we feel that we are either, under high levels of stress and highly activated, or sort of feeling low mood can be really, really exhausting. And I think with that, the sense of how long is this problem, sometimes we feel like I'm sick of being the person having a problem. But one of the questions that people often ask me is, how do I be there for somebody who is in that space?
Yeah.
Or, of course, be there for ourselves, because we are our own, we are the people who live rent free inside our own heads.
Yeah.
And actually, there are sometimes that we can do things for ourselves. And I present with Equip, who are run out of the wonderful team at Winter Park Baptist Church. I'm sure you know them well.
Hmm.
Naomi Cowan is the CEO of Equip. I actually run mental health first aid courses, and I am contracted to them to do that. These are 2-day courses, and I love them. One of the strongest messages that we come back to is the sense of holding hope.
Hmm.
Holding hope for others, holding hope for ourselves. But when others cannot kind of hang on to that because they've got so much going
Yeah.
on, being in that space of holding hope for other people. And I really love the terminology, because often we feel like we need to be doing a lot of things.
Mm.
People say, what shall I do? When do I turn up? What do I say?
Yeah.
And actually, it's more of an umbrella term about really, holding hope. And part of that talks about allowing that person to be encouraged while trusting the process.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned before, I've joined the gym.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of the gym?
I was more in a donation sort of. I'm a very generous spirited. It's more as supporting
Oh,
local businesses by paying them monthly, and then just not
yeah.
not wanting to clutter the place up too much.
No, no,
Yeah,
no,
more
no.
more of a
I love
donor
that.
than a participant, to be fair.
You're really holding hope for them that
Yes,
that you never
yes.
turn up and don't use anything. Um, so as part of our mental health journey this season, I'm gonna say summer, but this winter,
Mm,
Michael and I have joined our local gym,
yeah,
and it was I was in a world of pain and deep regret,
yeah,
and wishing that I had never come across such a crazy idea, because I came out of this feeling in more pain than I was when I went in. I
yeah,
felt more tired than I was when I started, but there's an element with all of these kind of therapies and things that we do with our well-being of trusting the process.
yeah,
And if we went in the first time and we felt like rubbish and we came out and thought, nah, not doing that again. My legs hurt. We would never do any of the things that we know to be good for ourselves. And so there's a level of trusting the process and going, look, you know what? I don't feel great today,
yeah,
but I do know that if I continue and consistently do this over time, then I will maybe make some progress. 8, 9, 10 weeks in, I feel great.
hmm,
Still sore,
yeah,
still a little bit regretful, but very mentally focused and actually feeling really, really high levels of well-being.
yeah.
And so my encouragement to people is in that I had other people who held hope for me.
In some ways,
The coach,
they're your personal trainers of hope, aren't they?
they were like, look, I'd come crawling out on the first day going, oh, I don't know if this is for me. And they're like, Julia,
Yeah.
we'll get there.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. They held hope that the process would kick in at some point. Michael and I have held hope for one another as
Yeah.
we have, groaned and moaned and complained our way through classes and puffed and panted. And I'm sure at some point he's clutched his chest and think, I'm going to die. But we've held hope for one another to go, we know this is good. And so I just want to encourage people that if you've got someone in your world who's really struggling with their mental health challenges at the moment, what you need to do with them is very, very simple. And it's simply being in that space of holding hope.
Yeah.
So just every little piece of encouragement, every text message, every phone call, every taking them out for a coffee,
Yeah.
every smile and touch on the arm, or, just any ways that you can be with them can help them at the time when perhaps they aren't strong enough to hold themselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a whole bunch of sense. And hey, sometimes we just need somebody to come along inside us and say, hey, let's go for a walk. Should we do that?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily something which we would initiate ourselves, but having somebody to walk alongside us, literally and figuratively, can make all the difference. Julia, thank you so much for the work that you do. We didn't have time for the full seminar, but I'd thoroughly recommend it for people to check out the details. juliagrace.co.nz, of course, to keep track of all that you're involved with. Thanks for being on the program once again.
A pleasure.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.